So in today's episode, I'm going to show you guys how we wash and decon this Tesla Model S. Now we just finished the pre-wash method, which is our APC rinse, or you can also snow foam it. If you want to check out that video, check out the card. But now that we're done with the pre-wash, that is going to remove the majority of any damaged material, grit and grime and mud, things that could actually cause some scratching and swirling on your paint. You want to remove that before you go into this contact wash. So make sure to watch that video. I'll have all the links down below. And on this Tesla Model S, we are doing a series of videos showing you each step of the way. So make sure to check out the description down below. You're going to see the multiple videos in this series. Now the vehicle has been rinsed, it's been pre-washed, it's ready to contact wash and continue with our deconning. What I mean by deconning is either using a clay bar to remove the gritty, rough feeling on the paint, or using chemical like iron or tar removers to again chemically remove any of that junk on the paint. Now you can do that before or after you contact wash. In this case, we're going to show you the chemical decon before you wash the paint. Now for the shampoo, we're going to be using the Purist pH Neutral. Now don't be fooled by the pH neutral shampoo. This is a strong cleaner. You can also use this on vehicles that have been well protected with a ceramic coating, wax, or sealant. But since we already used a high alkaline cleaner on this as our pre-wash, we can use a pH neutral shampoo like this to actually contact wash. So we're going to mix that up in the foam cannon. Now as far as diluting this shampoo, it's very simple. 1 to 2 ounces in a 32-ounce bottle is more than sufficient. If you're not getting enough foam or the foam that you want, just put a few more ounces. Now, when it comes to chemical deconning, we have this iron remover here, and it is a wheel cleaner as well. In one of the videos, we're going to show you how to deep clean these wheels. For now, let's focus on the paint. And yes, you can use this on the paint. Now, is this needed all the time? No, it's not. Depends on your detailing service. This is in for a paint enhancement, and I do see some stuff on the paint, so I am going to use this. However, if I don't see enough of a purple reaction, then I'm going to stop using it. I'm going to test it here on this spot, because usually the back end here has it the worst. And if I don't see it reacting, then I'm going to stop using the product. I'm not going to use it over the entire vehicle because it would be a waste of product. So you choose when to use an iron decon. Same thing goes with tar. If you see tar, remove it. Don't just use a tar remover on paint where there's no tar. These chemicals can be expensive, so if you are a detailing business, then make sure to conserve chemicals and don't use things arbitrarily. Now after a couple of minutes, I'm not seeing any purple reactions. No, nothing. So I'm not going to use this over all of the paint. I am going to use it for the wheels, but for the paint, nah, it's not really necessary. So I'm going to forego that step and go right into foaming and contact washing. Now after examining the paint, I really didn't see any other areas that needed tar or iron deconning. So let's foam it and contact wash it, and I'll show you how to mechanically decon using a clay mitt and clay bar. Now for washing, use a nice soft mitt and wash a panel. And what I'm going to do is use a clay mitt here. So this is going to mechanically decon, basically shearing off any bonded contaminants that did not come off in your pre-wash or that's not going to come off in your contact wash. This is important to do because it's going to make your paint feel nice and smooth. And it does help with polishing, and it helps with any type of protection to adhere to your paint. It's not fighting against any gritty bits that are on your paint. Now once you do a couple of passes on the paint, feel your paint. If it's nice and smooth, move on to the next section. Make sure to dump and rinse your mitts and your clay mitt in your bucket of water. That way you have a nice fresh clean mitt for each section. We also like to use a separate mitt for the bottom portions. That way you're not using your nice mitt that you use for your top portions and perhaps getting that a little bit grungy. Down here is still going to be the dirtiest part of the vehicle, even though we pre-washed it. The majority of the junk is off the paint. But once again, we separate the mitts, and we're using a little bit more of an aggressive mitt here, kind of like a bug sponge, to hit these bottom sections because, well, yeah, they're still a little grungy and there are some bonded contaminants still stuck in the paint. We're not going to use the clay mitt for that. We're going to use a clay bar. I'll show you how we do that. Now, an optional step here is using a nice soft brush to agitate all of the cracks and crevices. You can do that while you are pre-washing the paint, foaming it down, and then going through all of these cracks and crevices to clean them. This is really effective for the rear view mirrors, the side mirrors, door handles, any of these cracks or crevices around the doors and windows, and of course, emblems. Another tip is that you can actually use a water spot remover or even an acid-based, don't be afraid of the word acid, an acid-based wheel cleaner to clean these emblems, because that will actually help remove any type of water spotting that gets in these emblems that can be difficult to remove. Now, here are a few options for decontaminating the bottom portions of the vehicle. You can use a clay bar. So we're going to use this clay bar here and show you how you can actually do it during the wash process like this, and I'll show you a couple of different alternatives. You could actually just start claying right now with the shampoo that's on the vehicle. But let's give it a little extra lubrication, and then we'll get to clay barring it outside like this. Or we'll also pull it in after it's all rinsed, and then we can clay bar with a specific clay lube. I'll show you both of those options. So I'm going to take the clay bar and use this for all the bottom portions because it's pretty gross. I can actually hear it, I can feel the grit, but it is now coming off and the paint is feeling nice and smooth. I don't know if you can hear that. That could be a variety of things, but whatever it is, it's stuck onto the paint, and those things do not come off in the wash process. So you do have to use a clay mitt or a bar like this to remove them. And when you're done clay barring, that is what the clay bar is going to look like. Ugh, pretty nasty. Now that could be a variety of things that's on the paint, and especially way in the bottom portions that you really can't see, but you can feel them. And now that shears all of that junk off the paint. Now it's nice and smooth, ready for polishing. Now when you have a clay bar like this, I only use one side. What I'm going to do is fold it in on itself and then flatten it back out. That way you have a nice, clean side. Another tip is use warm or hot water with these clay bars because it will help them to remain malleable as you're working around the vehicle. Now that you have a clean side, keep working around the vehicle. But let's show you another method. Now, alternatively, you can just use your clay bar with a traditional clay lubricant. Again, this is optional. I like to do it while I'm washing the vehicle because I already have the foam on there. That's my lubrication, and I don't have to spend money on extra lubrication. But if you like this method, this is one way of doing it. Now I have my clay bar in hot water here. Once again, it just makes it more malleable, easier to handle. Let's see what contamination we have in the bottom here. You can definitely hear it. And then once you don't hear that crunchy sound anymore, that's how you know that your paint is now smooth. And it's going to pick up all that contamination. Add more lubricant and work your way down the vehicle. You can do this to all the top surfaces if you want, and if the clay mitt did not really do a sufficient job, because again, it's a little less aggressive than a traditional clay bar. You can get clay bars in different aggressions as well. So you can get a fine, medium, or heavy clay. And the heavy clay is going to mar up your paint. This can also mar up your paint just a little bit, but we are polishing this vehicle, so we're not worried about that. We want the paint to be smooth, and that's what we're achieving. So yes, another alternative method is just using the traditional clay lube and your clay bar. So now that the vehicle is deep cleaned and deconned, now we can continue with our polishing service.